Hello, this is Lucretia with the Calm and Confident You podcast. Today I'm going to talk with you about pivoting. I'm not talking about the pivot that someone does while playing basketball or when dancing. Instead, I'm going to use the term pivot as it is often used in business, where it means to completely change the way in which one does something. An example would be if a business had always sold products out of stores and changed to selling mainly online. In fact, my local jewelry and craft store recently made that very switch. An aspect of pivoting is being flexible and able to change to better meet needs. I'm going to talk with you about pivoting in terms of our personal lives. People may encounter the need to pivot when faced with a significant change, such as a divorce or loss of income, death of a family member, or even some disaster. There are many ways in the course of our lives which will force us to have to pivot. People who are not able to shift and pivot will suffer more and longer, unfortunately. It doesn't have to be such a dramatically forced change. I have recently pivoted following my shoulder surgery regarding the enjoyable pastimes that I choose. When I was in my 20s and into my 30s, my favorite pastimes were art, mainly drawing, and going out dancing, especially Western swing style. This went on for years. When my children were young enough to still take naps, I would spend the time drawing. After the napping stage, I had less time available to concentrate and to draw. Eventually, the drawing activity was dropped completely. After a while, going dancing also fell by the wayside, starting with having the difficulty in arranging to have a babysitter. During this time, I took up running for exercise and trained for local races. Not for the speed, by the way, but to mainly just cover the distance. That also was dropped after a few years due to significant health issues. It took me several years to settle into my current hobbies and pastimes. And I've been doing those current hobbies for almost a decade. Yikes, I am old. I've been making jewelry such as wire-wrapped stone pendants, or leather-lashed bracelets, or woven necklaces since around 2014, when I started having an Etsy shop. I've been making wooden keepsake boxes with wood-burned designs on the lids for almost as long. I've really stuck with these hobbies. I also got into lake kayaking. But now I've had shoulder surgery and I'm not able to do any of those things. It could be 9 months to a year before kayaking will be an option, which is a real bummer. Actually, all of it is a bummer. If I was unable to pivot, I might be spending my downtime watching TV and movies and surfing YouTube. And that can be a downer if it goes on for too long. I am doing some of that, but I also am turning to some hobbies which I can do one-handed. I pulled out some paper and my old drawing pencils, which I hadn't looked at for so long I wasn't sure what I had. I used to do a lot with charcoal and chalk pastels, but that's too messy for my current situation. Now I've done a couple sketches with shading, and I'm very rusty, but it's not too bad. I also have an event coming up, and I thought of making some decorative soaps as little favors to give to attendees. I've made half of what I need. I had to order more supplies. And of course, that led me into another soap making project, which looked fun. So I am off and running with that. Also, I replaced my old phone and have been playing with making little videos for TikTok and for YouTube. I am pretty certain that if I had not turned to these creative outlets, to replace what I had been doing before, that I would be pretty unhappy. At first, that was how I was, only thinking about what I couldn't do and how it will be ages before I will be able to do those things. And for a while, I was only doing tasks that needed to be done. I wasn't playing in any way. At first, I also was in pain and not able to function beyond the basics. So the fact that I am finding interest in ways to play is a sign of my improvement since the surgery. I've been following a little morning meditation in which the guy states several affirmations to start the day. One of them is, I make plans, but I remain flexible to change the plans. This is what is required to be able to pivot and continue on a positive, fulfilling path. Being flexible and able to pivot if needed are signs of emotional health. This week, going forward, notice if there are times where being flexible and able to change direction are the better choices for some struggle you are experiencing. Also, I am celebrating that this is the 50th episode that I have recorded. I will be ever thinking of interesting topics and possibly trying some new formats, though I'm not committing to anything right now. Stay tuned, follow the podcast, and take a look at the growingemotionalstrength.com website. Until next time, be well.